You're watching From the Heart with John Willard.
Hi friends, John Willard here, the gentleman poet, storyteller, and Naka contributor, back for another show and more bone-chilling truth. As I do my research, I'm looking for true stories from individuals or authors who give permission to use quotation for not-for-profit organizations. Authors like V.J. Smith, Linda Ellis, and Mac Anderson, and many others. This is a true story that grabs your heart. I'm honored to share. Marty's Story by V.J. Smith, the richest man in town. People love to write and speak about leaders who changed the course of history. I prefer true stories about the unsung heroes. This story is about Marty, a Walmart cashier. Marty changed many lives forever and showed us how to be better people. Not wealthier, or more successful, or more powerful. At the time this story was written, Marty was in his 70s, slightly stooped with a nice smile. Marty greeted every customer. He seemed genuine about wanting to know how people were feeling. Marty would count out the change, and then the magic. He placed the change in his left hand and extended his right hand in an act of friendship. As their hands met, the old cashier said, "I sure want to thank you for shopping here today." All had been touched by his simple gesture. His Walmart name tag read, Marty. Each time the author was in Marty's line, he noticed Marty quick to give compliments. "You have a beautiful smile," or "That's a great looking coat." Marty was a master at making other people the center of attention. His line was always the longest in the store. Some other counters would have no customers in line, and still Marty would have 3 or 4 people. Marty had the store's highest items per hour, in spite of the time he took with the people. Marty said, "I like to show 'em what an old man can do." Other cashiers would come up and say, "I can help you in my line." Customers declined. They wanted the Marty touch. One day in Marty's line, a lady with 2 little boys. The mother pointed at Marty and said, "He's everybody's grandpa." Marty gave the boys some peppermint candy he pulled from his shirt pocket. Marty handed the woman her receipt and change, shook her hand, thanked her, and then he bent down and hugged those 2 little boys. The author wrote a letter to the president and CEO of Walmart. He wrote, "Sam Walton would be proud of Marty. He is Mr. Walmart. He is a kindly older gentleman with twinkling eyes and a ready smile. I, like many, will stand 8 deep in his cashier line. Why? Because after he rings up the sale, and just before handing us the change, he sticks out his right hand to shake ours. He thanks us. He means it, and we know it. As long as Marty's running a cash register, I'm going to stand in his line no matter how long it is. Yep, Sam Walton would be proud. A young man had been asked to give a graduation speech, and he said he wanted to thank people who made a difference in his life while he was in college. The young man said, "There's this guy at Walmart by the name of Marty. He's having an impact on a lot of people's lives. I'll use Marty as the central character in the graduation address." Why was Marty so happy? Marty was born in 1926, the same year as my mother, a NACA contributor. Marty's father was a common laborer, moving from one job to the next. Marty said, "We were dirt poor." When asked why, Marty shook hands. Marty replied, when he was first hired, there was some young men came in, and he shook their hands, and one young man walked a little ways and looked back, and he said, "I like that. So I've been doing it ever since." Marty said, "You got to look people dead in the eye when you shake their hand. That's the only way to go. I'm trying to show them that I appreciate them." Marty lived in a trailer park with his wife, Mickey. Marty laughed at our friends. He said they call us the M&M kids. Why was he so happy, still working into his 70s? Because through tough times, he didn't have a lot of material things, and yet he was happy. Marty left school in the 9th grade to earn money for his family. Marty said, "I get pumped up just going to work. In life, you get what you give." Marty's lessons: relationships matter most in life. What I give are smiles, handshakes, thank yous, and once in a while, a hug. What I get back, I can't describe. It makes me want to get up and go to work every morning. People think I'm doing it just for them, but I'm doing it for me too. It seemed that everyone in town and the surrounding area was getting to know Marty. He couldn't go to a store or walk down a street without someone yelling, "Hi, Marty!" People dropped off gifts for Marty at the store. During the summer months, countless bags of fresh corn and tomatoes came from the gardens of the customers. One woman wrote, "The last time I was in the store, you asked the secret to being happy. And I asked you, and you hugged me. I know how many times you've brightened my day, and I'm sure thousands of others. I made this jelly last night and wanted you to have some." "This is what I'm talking about," Marty said. "When you're nice to people, you get it all back and then some." Marty sends cards. Ask why. He replied, "I just think if you want to be a friend, sometimes you need to do a little more." Second lesson, try to do a little more. Cashiers were instructed never to put their own money into the register if a customer didn't have enough to pay a bill. Marty ignored this rule. "I've done it hundreds of times," he said. If someone came up a little short, Marty would stick his hand in his pocket, grab a handful of change, and pay the difference. A local minister's wife was $20 short, and Marty paid it. Marty was asked, "Why do you do that?" Marty said, "They're embarrassed, and I don't want to embarrass them more. They always pay me back," Marty said. People knew Marty was genuine. They gravitated to him. After watching Marty hug one lady, a man standing in his line asked, "Are you some kind of preacher?" Marty answered, "I just want to be a friend." Marty was admired for many reasons, but how he treated children won all the blue ribbons. "Kids love it when I shake their hands. Future customers, you know," Marty said with a wink. Before Father's Day, a little girl in Marty's line walked up and handed him a Father's Day card, signed by her and her picture. Marty couldn't speak. The girl's mother explained, "My daughter insisted we buy you a card because you're so nice to her whenever we go through your line." Marty said, "People need to decide to be happy. The way I got it figured, the only one that can make you happy is you." One of Marty's children was born with spina bifida. She died shortly after birth. The funeral director was a super guy, Marty said. He knew we didn't have any money. He went out and built a wood casket for her and lined it with white satin. He only charged us $5. It's stuff like that. You look for the good in people and you'll find the good. Look for the bad and you'll find the bad. You'll find what you're looking for. I'd just as soon look for the good in people. Marty's life was filled with minimum wage jobs, borrowing on insurance policies, and working overtime to make a little money. Earlier, Marty had suffered a heart attack, prostate cancer. But when that came up, all he wanted to talk about was the cards that were sent to him. Marty said, "People think they need to have a lot of things to make them happy. They ought to look around and see what's really important." When Marty looked around, he saw his wife and 4 children who loved him, a job that made him feel alive. He was happy because in his mind he had it all. Marty received Walmart's Hero Award. "They gave out 6 of these a year," Marty said. "Pretty good, huh?" Marty had photographs hanging in his dining room. There, mixed in with all the pictures of Marty, was a copy of the letter sent to President and CEO of Walmart. Marty said, "I've read this letter 75 times, and I've cried 75 times. He seemed like he was the richest man in town. So many people were being touched by his kindness. Marty reminded us how to be better people. 2 men drove 150 miles out of their way to meet him. Marty said, "I must be getting pretty popular." Marty's wife, Mickey, said, "Don't you start getting the big head." A group of people from the local Chamber of Commerce had stopped at the store and asked him to serve as the Grand Marshal for the Festival of Lights parade. Marty found himself in the hospital, and shortly after he died. More than 400 get well cards flooded his room. The local newspaper said Marty left an indelible mark on the many people who passed through his line at Walmart. No one was a stranger in his line, merely a friend in waiting. In a precious few moments, what we say and what we do can be lasting. Marty's philosophy: relationships matter most in life. Try to do a little more, and only you can make you happy. Friends, I'm out of time. Remember, Nagi always said, when you're good to others, you are best to yourself. You can reach me on Twitter at JohnWillard47. And if you want me to come to your event, well, I still have my dogs, and you know how that is. Remember, it's not what we gain, but what we give that measures the worth of the life we live. Until next time, friends.